Hey, what's up? It's Nathan Williams with Crazy Marketing. Now this video right here is a compilation of several videos that help make up the course that you're taking right now. Now to help you navigate through everything, I've provided timestamps down below in the description. So I recommend going, check out those timestamps, watching what's relevant to you. Let's get into it. In this section of the course, we're going to talk about setting up goals or conversion events. So that way, you can track if people are opting in or buying, and then you can optimize your ads with that type of information, right? So it's important to set this up correctly so you can track what is happening with your ads. So as you may recall, I said that we use Google Analytics for all of our goals and conversions. Now you can set up goals or conversions inside of Google Ads as well, but it's not as accurate. And Google Analytics gives you a lot more information, so that's why we use Google Analytics for our goals and conversion tracking. Okay, so that's why we're doing it here, because a lot more information, a lot better details, and it works better. All right, so here we are. We're in Google Analytics, and make sure that you're under the right options. So I'm under my master view here, and I want to go to goals. And I have no goals in my life, so I need to go ahead and add one. So I'm going to add a new goal, and then we have a couple different templates we could choose from. Or what I always do is I just go to custom down here, because I'm going to do whatever I want to do anyway. So go to custom and continue, and then we go ahead and name our goal, so what it is we're trying to accomplish here. And so for this particular example, let's say that I'm going for leads. So I just want to track my leads for my 18 free sales funnel blueprint downloads. So I'll go lead 18 free funnels. And then I can go ahead and select my goal slot ID. So I guess if you want to keep it organized for some way, you could go ahead and do that, but I leave it as a default. And then we have our different types of goals we can select. So we have destination, which is what I'm going to use in this video. So the destination, somebody lands on a page, right? So they opt in for my 18 free sales funnels, and they land on my thank you page. So this is their destination, right? So that's one goal type, destination. There's also duration. So if you want to set a goal for people that are on your website for 3 minutes, then you could go ahead and do that. Maybe that's your measurement of success. Pages or screens per session. So you want people that click through 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, and that's your measure for success. You can set that here. And then there's also events. So events are like click events, or they took some sort of action on your website. And I'm gonna have another video or two on events, because it's pretty cool and powerful. But anyway, in this video, we're going with destination. And we'll hit continue now. And so it's pretty self-explanatory. So destination, and I always do begins with. And I want to go ahead and enter in the destination of my goal. Now in ClickFunnels, if you weren't aware, the page path they land on is this one, your variation path. So it looks like this right here. Or if I pop it up and we see this is the page path. So what I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to copy this entire thing, the domain and the path of the page, and I'm going to paste it in here. Now, if you did not go through the process and set up the view full page URL and reports, if you did not do this, then you don't want to include the full URL in your settings here. So if you did not do this part, pay attention, because you need to do something different. So if you're not including the full domain, you need to go ahead and delete it out of there. So this is what it would look like if you're not including the full page path or the full domain in your Google Analytics reporting. It's just the tail end of the path. But if you went through my previous video where we set this up, then you need to include the entire path, just like that. Okay, so that's something to be mindful of, because it does impact whether it works or not. So you want it to work, obviously. So this is what I'm going to do, because I'm doing the full domain value. You could go ahead and assign a value if you want to. Funnel. So this sounds like it'd be cool, like you could track somebody through a funnel, or only count that person if they go through this funnel first. But it doesn't really work like that. Like I don't really know. I mean, I know what it does, but it's not useful except for like reporting, but it doesn't change anything with tracking. So if you want to learn more about funnel in Google Analytics, you could go ahead and Google how to do it, but it's not going to change your tracking, basically. And then what you probably want to do is verify the goal. Make sure that you have a number here. Mine says 0% because I have no data so far. So That's okay, I expected it to be 0, but if you have information and data in your Google Analytics account, then hopefully you see a number here. If you don't see a number here, then you probably have something wrong up here with your destination page path. And you want to go ahead and play around with it to make sure that it's running correctly. And of course, if you're like me and you have 0 right here, you can save it and then just keep an eye on it, right? You'll want to check it in a day or two, make sure that you have some conversions coming through. Otherwise, you probably set something up incorrectly. And I'll do another one just for the sake of example so you can kind of see the process here again. So I'll do another new goal, and I'm going to do custom and continue. And this time I'll do purchase the sales funnel book version 2.0. And then let me go grab my page path information. So let me go in here. And I'm going to leave this a default setting. I'm going to choose destination as my type and continue. And I want to do begins with, and then I'll throw my page path in here. So I got my full domain plus the path. And then I got to add confirm because that's my success page. After somebody buys, they land on the confirm page. Value, I'll just go ahead and throw in $6.95 because I make $6.95 minimum if somebody buys the book. And I'm going to leave funnel off. I can verify this goal. And again, 0% conversion rate, and that's because I don't actually have this pixel installed on my funnel. So I'm not going to have any conversions there, but hopefully, I would want a number there to show me that it is working. And I'll hit save. And so there we go. Now I have 2 different goals, one for leads, one for purchases. And you can see how you set these goals up for pages people land on. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the training. Real quick, I have a special offer that I want to present to you where you can get a digital copy of my book as well as an audio copy. Plus, I'm giving away 20 pre-written emails that make your email writing a piece of cake. And finally, I have a 7-figure funnel. It's the first funnel that I built that generated over 7 figures for a small business, and it includes training on how to actually set up the funnel. If you're interested in that, plus several other bonuses, link in the description down below, or there'll be a link in the little box up above here. So if you're interested, check it out. Back to the training. In this video, we're going to talk about setting up goals that are triggered by an event, in particular like a click event. So somebody clicks on a button or a link on your website and you want to measure that as a conversion event, a goal in Google Analytics. So that's what we're going to do in this video. And we're going to be using Google Tag Manager to set this up. Now I'm going to set it up on a ClickFunnels funnel. So you're going to see it on ClickFunnels. But you can use Google Tag Manager on a bunch of different websites. So this same concept will apply no matter what type of website you're using if you're using Google Tag Manager. So let's get into it. First things first, you got to come to Google Tag Manager. You can just Google Tag Manager and then we can go ahead and sign in to it. It's free. And if you don't have any accounts set up, you just go ahead and create an account. It can be something generic, just like the name of your business or whatever. But what you want to go ahead and do is go ahead and create a container. And if you're using ClickFunnels, what I recommend is 1 container per funnel that you set up. So again, 1 container per funnel if you're using ClickFunnels. If you're setting this up on a different platform, then you can probably use 1 container for your entire website. So anyway, let's go down here to create container. And I'm going to go ahead and call it my YouTube course is the name of my container. I'm doing it on web and create. And so it gives me some code to go ahead and install, and it tells me where to put it. So I can put it in the head right here. And then I also need to put another snippet in the body area. So I'm going to go to my ClickFunnels funnel real quick and install my code. And again, if you're using a different platform, install the code wherever it makes sense to do so. Let me delete this out of here real quick and grab this one and paste it in there. So this is my head tracking code, and then I got to put my body tracking code in here as well. So let's come on down here and body tracking code, okay, and throw it in there. Scroll on down the bottom and save and update settings. All right, very cool. Got that set up. So okay. All right, so Google Tag Manager is quite advanced, and I'm only going to show you like 3% of the features in it, but you can do a whole lot more. I recommend, if you're interested, in taking a course on it because you can do a lot of really cool stuff with it, but we're just going to use it to track click events. That's our goal in this video, so that's what I'm going to cover. All right, so basically how it works is we have tags, which is like your pixel code, right? So that's a tag. And then you have triggers, so what actually makes your pixel code fire or pop up on the page. So it could be a page load, or it could be a click in our particular example here. Variables are like things that you're watching, so it could be like the name of a button or the link of a button or something like that. Or it could also be like you could set like a variable to represent a value and then use that variable in other places. And then we have folders, so if you want to keep things organized. And then we have templates, which I don't even know what that does, never been in there. All right, so let's go ahead and just do this real quick. So we'll go to tags, and we need to go ahead and do a new tag. And I'm gonna call this my Google Analytics and Ads tag. And now we have to go ahead and choose a tag type. And you'll notice that there's Google Analytics here, and there's also Google Ads as well. So you could go through these options and set up your tags by using these tag types, but I find it to be kind of complicated. There's a bunch of different options when you click into here. Like it asks you a bunch of different questions and it can get confusing. It confuses me, so I try and keep things simple. So what I do is I come down here to my custom HTML option right here, and then I just grab my code that we created previously, grab that, and I slap it on in there, and boom, I am good to go. I do want to come down here though to advanced settings and add some tag firing priority. I want to stick a really big number in here. Basically the larger the number here is the order of when the tags will be fired. And so since this is like my base tag, this is my main tag, I want a high number because I want it to fire before any other tags might fire off from Google Tag Manager. So anyway, if you just throw a large number in there, you're gonna be good to go. And I'm gonna ignore all these other options. I don't need to mess with them, so let's keep it simple. Triggering, let's come down to trigger, and we wanna go ahead and trigger this on all pages. We want all the pages in our funnel to have our Google Analytics and our Google Ads tags, triggered. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit save now. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit submit and publish and continue and wait a minute for it to go ahead and render. And then I'll come back up to my workspace, and then I want to go ahead and hit preview, and this will put it into preview mode. So let's see what happens. All right, so now previewing workspace. So now I can come over to where I've installed Google Tag Manager. Again, I did it on a funnel, but if you did it on a different type of website, you could, same process. And you'll notice now that it pops up a tag manager. And what we have is basically a summary of everything that has happened on our funnel. So we see that I have Google Analytics and Ads tag, and it was fired, and it was fired one time, and this is what it looks like, and it looks like it is working. I could also use my Google Tag Assistant up here to make sure that my code is firing properly. So I'd go through that process and make sure it's up here as well as down here. And if it's in both Google Tag Assistant and in Google Tag Manager, then I think, hey, it seems to be working correctly. So great, I have my base code installed on my funnel or on my website. And now I can move on to the next step, which in our case is to track the click event. So let's come back over to Google Tag Manager, and I want to go ahead and come down to variables real quick. And I want to go ahead and configure my built-in variables. And I want to come down here to clicks, and I want to turn on all these click options real quick because I need to be able to track clicks. So that's what I want to go ahead and do. So do that real quick. And then I want to come over to triggers and new, and I'm going to call it generic click trigger. And I'm going to click on this box here, and I want to choose trigger type. I want to do all elements and all clicks and save. And then I'll go ahead and submit and publish and continue. And basically what I just did with that generic click trigger is now when I go and I start clicking things on my website, it's going to pop up information for Google Tag Manager to process, and I can draw information from it. So I'll show you what I mean as we preview it. So let me go ahead and hit this refresh button real quick. All right, and I actually want to go to a different page in my funnel, so I'm going to go to my sales funnel diagrams page, and I'm going to pop it up. And what I want to do is I want to track when people click on this download blueprints button. This is my conversion event, my goal that I want to go ahead and track, so that's what I'm going to set up here. So if I click on this button, and it pops up a website here, and if I come back over to Google Tag Manager, and we see that I have this link click option here. I want to go over to variables, and I want to look at the different variables that like happened when I clicked. So we'll look through these variables and try and find anything that's like unique to that button click. And we have right here is the click URL is this right here. So I want to go ahead and grab this value, because every time this button gets clicked, this click URL variable gets fired and it equals this value right here. This is the only button on this page that represents this link. Okay, so let me come back over to Google Tag Manager, and I want to set up a trigger now. And I'm going to set up a new trigger, and this will be click blueprint download. All right, and click my trigger configuration, and I want to do clicks all elements. And only some clicks, and I wanted it to be click URL and equals to this value right here, right? And save. And very cool. So I have my trigger when that sales funnel blueprint download button gets clicked, right? So if the click URL equals that, it triggers that trigger. So now I need to go ahead and create a tag that gets fired when that trigger is pulled, okay? So let's set up a tag, new, and this will be SF blueprint download, and tag configuration. And now I want to go ahead and use Google Analytics here. So I'm going to do Google Analytics, and I want to go ahead and do an event. We can go ahead and set up our parameters. So we have category, action, label, and value. And you can put whatever you want in here, but I recommend trying to come up with a system to keep organized. So what I do is I call this a manual event, because I'm manually set it up with Google Tag Manager. And then my action is a click, and my label is SF Blueprint Download. I have no value associated with it. And I'm going to come to advanced settings real quick. Tag firing priority. I'm just going to put a 1 in there. And then I'm going to come down to triggering, and I want to go ahead and select my click SF Blueprint Download trigger. And then I want to go ahead and save. And I get an error message. So you must either select a Google Analytics setting variable or set tracking ID. Okay, so new variable. So I need to go ahead and set up a variable. So here we go, tracking ID. And I'll come back over here and grab my tracking ID real quick. And grab it. And paste it on in there. And save. And Google Analytics settings. Sure, that's fine. And then Google Analytics settings and save. Okay, there we go. And then I'll submit again and publish and continue. And we will wait. And then I'll come back to my workspace. I'm going to go ahead and refresh real quick. And then I'm going to come back over and I'm going to go ahead and refresh my page. And now, looking at Google Tag Manager, we have my Google Analytics and Ads tag. It fired successfully on the page. And then I have tags not fired, my SF Blueprint Download tag. So that tag that we just set up. And again, it's fired based off of the trigger when I click on this button here. But if I go over here and I start clicking around, you'll notice like I have the generic click going off, but my tag hasn't fired. But hopefully if I click this button right here, it'll go ahead and fire my tag. So let's click it. And so it brings me to my download. And I'll come back over here and we see that my Sales Funnel Blueprint tag has fired. So awesome, it appears to be working well. And so now let's come back over to Google Tag Manager and I'll point something out to you. So over here under my trigger, I had originally set it up as all elements, and that causes issues. So if you're having issues with your click trigger, change it to just links and use just links for your click trigger instead of all elements. So now that my tag seems to be firing, I'm going to go ahead and leave preview mode and OK. I can come back over to my funnel now. I'll go ahead and refresh it real quick, and then my little Google Tag Manager box is gone now. So now my page looks nice and clean, and we continue on with the next step. Now, the next step is we do have to set up a goal inside of Google Analytics so that way we can track those clicks. So let's go back to Google Analytics, and I'm under I went home, and so I want to go to behavior real quick, and I'm going to go to events, and we'll just go to overview. And let me go ahead and change my time range real quick because we're on the 30th and I want to make sure that I'm seeing my events. So here we go. Here's the events that I set up. Now, if you don't recall, I set this way back up under the tags. So we should see my event over here, my event information. So we got category, manual, action, click, label, sales funnel, blueprint, download. So if we're in Google Analytics, we see that we have category, manual, and action, click, and event label equals sales funnel, blueprint, download. So, and we see that it's been fired off 10 times. So cool. So let me go ahead and grab this text real quick. And then I want to go into admin. And I want to go to goals. And I want to create a new goal. And I'm going to go to custom and continue. And this will be click SF blueprint download. And I'm going to go ahead and do an event type now and continue. And for my label, I want it to equal to SF blueprint download. Now I could also throw my category in here, manual, and my action of click if I want to. That's fine. Or I can only have one value in there. Whatever you want to do is fine. It'll still work. And I'll go ahead and leave this on. That's fine. And then I'll go ahead and verify it. And I have 0 conversion rate. And sometimes it takes a little while for the events to come through to be measured here. So that's fine. I want to pay attention to it like 24 hours from now, make sure some events are being counted here. And so that's how you go ahead and set up clicks as goals on a ClickFunnels funnel using Google Tag Manager. Again, this method could work on any type of website where you can install Google Tag Manager. So if you want to use Google Tag Manager, by all means, go for it. And that is it for this video. In this video, we're going to go ahead and set up click event goals using WordPress. Now, the Pixel Your Site plugin makes this very easy to do, so hopefully you're using this plugin and can follow along with me. So anyway, we've gone ahead already and we set this plugin up in another video, and hopefully you went through all the steps. And we also want to make sure that you did turn on the track clicks option, so that way you can track clicks, right? Makes some sense. So you'll make sure this stuff is all turned on. This non-interactive event, I'm not sure what that means. I could probably Google it and find out, but mine is checked. And it works. So if you check it, it should work, is my point. So I have that checked, and then of course save settings. And basically what this does right now is any sort of click that happens on your website, on your WordPress website, is going to be pushed into Google Analytics, and then you can create a goal based off of the event information that gets pushed into Google Analytics. So this is pretty much all you have to do with your WordPress plugin. Now, there is custom events over here as well, and you could go ahead and set up a custom event, but I don't see the need to do that because everything is already pushed over into Google Analytics automatically when you set up the initial settings, and there's no real need to set up another user-defined or custom event because all the information is already pushed into Google Analytics. So I don't think you need to do anything over here. I'll try and think of an example where you might, but at this point in time, I don't see any reason to set up a user-defined event for Google Analytics or Google Ads. So anyway, coming over here, so for our sake of example, what we want to go ahead and do is, let's say we want to track people that click on this button right here. And that's what we want to go ahead and track. So of course you need to make sure that you have everything turned on, and then come over to your page and click on the button and trigger the event basically, so it'll go off. And hopefully that's good. All right, then we go over to Google Analytics, and let me go ahead and refresh it real quick. And as you'll notice, I'm under like the reporting area. So I want to come over to behavior then and go to events and overview. And now we can start looking at our event information, see what's been pushed over into Google Analytics. Now, you might need to change the date range. Make sure you're looking at the right date. If you just set something up, like you want to make sure you're looking at today, so that way you can make sure that the events are fired. Also, it can take a few minutes for the events to come over into Google Analytics. So if you went over and you clicked your button and then you immediately went over to Google Analytics, it might not be popping up yet, and that's okay too. It can take a few minutes. Just take a break, come back in a few minutes, and see if it's there. You'll notice under the event category, this click event is the event that's been fired off by the Pixel Your Site plugin. So that's what's fired off. Also, sometimes the event will have happened, but it won't be showing up here. So if you hit view full report, it should show you every single event. So if you don't see it, click that option for view full report, and hopefully you see it in there then, so that way you can track things. All right, so now we're going to kind of click into things and figure out what the structure is of our events. So we have the event category, which is click event, and let me actually write this down so we have it somewhere. So let me do click event, and I do believe that the structure, like the capitalization and spacing, matters, so make sure you get it correct. So click event, and we'll click into it, and we got two different click events that have happened. We've had an outbound link and internal links, so that's kind of cool. We could track either one. Now in this particular case, I'm linking to an external link because I'm linking over to my ThriveCart website. So let's go ahead and do outbound link. So outbound link, and then we can also go ahead and click on that. And so here are the event labels now that have been triggered. So we got the link basically to the website. So I'll just do HTTPS. And so there we go. We have the label as well recorded. So that's what we're looking for. Now what we want to go ahead and do is come over to admin, and we got to set up our goal. And we're under our master view, and we want to go to goals, and we want to create a new goal, and we'll go to custom goal and continue. And this will be click the sales funnel book version 2.0 button. That's what we'll call our goal. Good goal description. And we want to go ahead and select event type and continue. And now we're going to plug in our information that we copied. So we got click event as the category, and then we have outbound link as the action, and then label. And I'm going to change this one to begins with, and paste that in there like that. So we got the full HTTPS information in there. And I didn't set a value, so I'm going to leave that blank. And then we're going to look at use the event value as the goal for the conversion. I'm going to change this to no, and I'm going to track the event value in Google Analytics instead. And I'll just say it's $1. Every time somebody clicks on the button, I can estimate that I'll earn about $1. All right, and then I'll go ahead and verify this goal. And it says 0% right now, and that's okay because I just set things up, and it sometimes takes a little while for these conversion events to start tracking properly. So I'll give it 24 to 48 hours, and then I'll come back and I'll check on this goal and make sure it is actually coming through. And hopefully it is. If not, I probably have something wrong with like my label or some settings wrong, but it should work in a 24-hour period. Save. And boom, there we go. So just like that, now if somebody clicks on the Sales Funnel Book button, then it's going to track that event. And so that's it. It's pretty simple stuff. Again, that Pixel Your Site plugin makes things a lot easier, so that's nice. And that is it for this video. In the last few videos, we set up several goals inside of Google Analytics. We set up a couple different goal types. So we set up some event types where we were tracking clicks. And then we also did some destination types where if they landed on a page that has whatever page path, then that counts as a goal. Now what we need to go ahead and do is push these goals into Google Ads so that way we can track conversions within Google Ads as well. So let's go over to Google Ads real quick and get this whole thing set up. So go to Tools and Settings, and then we want to go to Conversions. And we want to click this blue conversion button, and we want to go ahead and import because we're importing data from Google Analytics. Click on that, and we'll select Google Analytics right here and continue. And then we can go ahead and select all of our conversion options here. So we see that we have the goals we set up. So we have the click Sales Funnel Blueprint download, click the Sales Funnel Book version 2.0 button, lead 18 funnels, purchase the Sales Funnel Book version 2.0, right? So these are the 4 goals that we set up in Google Analytics, so cool. And also you see that it pulled in all transaction information. So this is very handy like for e-commerce businesses, or again, if like your shopping cart like ThriveCart or SamCart, they integrate with Google Analytics and they'll push purchase information. So basically this also counts all your purchases if your cart pushes that information into Google. So it's very handy if it's something that you use. So I do recommend leaving it checked as well, and then we'll go ahead and import and continue. And you've imported 4 goals in 1 transaction from Google Analytics, and done. And so there we go. Just like that, we've gone ahead and connected our Google Analytics goals to our Google Ads accounts. So now we can go ahead and optimize for these various conversion actions or goals. And that's it for this video. I just wanted to show you how to import the Google Analytics goals that we set up into Google Ads so we can track our results and do the optimization within Google Ads. Alrighty, so I hope you enjoyed the training. Now I have a quick special offer for you. So if you want a digital copy as well as an audio copy of my book here, as well as 20 pre-written emails to make your email copywriting a piece of cake. And I also have a 7-figure funnel. It's the first funnel that I built that generated over 7 figures of revenue for a small business. And the funnel includes a course on how to set it up and also how to actually sell that funnel to small businesses. So if you're interested in starting a digital marketing agency, that course and that funnel are an ideal option for you. And there's a bunch of other benefits and stuff, bonuses and stuff. Anyway, link in the description down below, or there's going to be a little button probably up here in the video if you're interested in checking it out. Yeah, just check it out if you're interested. And other than that, I hope you have a great rest of the day.